Hello everybody, and welcome to this video. I'm Sebastian from Graphic Noise, and I'd like to give you a quick introduction to Articulate. So what's Articulate? Articulate is a Max for Live device that allows you to set up, use, and automate your sample library's articulation key switches in Ableton Live in a fast and easy way. Now, if you're watching this video, chances are that you know well what articulations and key switches are. If you don't, here's a quick primer. If you play an instrument, you probably know notes, just like speech, can be played in different ways and hold many possibilities to express different moods and emotions. The ways we make them sound are called articulations, and many of them have their own names. You've probably heard the terms legato, staccato, and pizzicato thrown around. Now, to give you that exact flexibility for expression, many sample libraries, especially in the world of orchestral music, have those articulations built in. As an example, I've loaded up an instance of Sine by Orchestral Tools. I like this one pretty much, as it instantly shows you what this is all about. So in here, we can see that the instruments come with different articulation sets. We can either load them up one by one, or we can load up the entire set. If we play some notes now, we hear this articulation being played. If we click on this one, we hear another one. Over here, we can see that they all have keyboard notes assigned. These are the so-called key switches, and we can also switch between articulations by pressing the notes on the keyboard. This way, we can switch articulations on the fly, like a real player, and record that into our MIDI tracks. As great as this is, you're likely composing a piece with many instruments, or even a full orchestra. So switching around between libraries and remembering all the key switches can be quite cumbersome. This is where Articulate comes in. I've now gone ahead and have set up a few instances of Articulate to show you how it works. In this track, down here in the device panel, we have our instances of Sine, with the very same instrument loaded as before, and Articulate. What we have now is all those articulations laid out on screen as buttons, a keyboard display that shows us the playable range of our instrument and the notes we're playing, and 4 assignable CC dials. While the MIDI key switches still work, this gives us an instant overview of the available articulations, shows us which one is active, and lets us easily switch between them, all straight from the device panel. Just like via MIDI, our clickable articulations can also be recorded. The difference is that instead of notes in the MIDI clips, these are recorded into automation lanes, which makes them easy to both read and edit when arranging. In short, it's a massive time saver. So if we switch over to the arrangement view, we have lanes for the articulations as well as the 4 CC dials. In this simple example, I've recorded a few notes and switched articulations. We can do this during recording, by editing the automation lane, or even by overdubbing. You might have noticed that there's another button down here that says Settings, which, you guessed it, opens up the Settings view, where we set up our articulations for this instrument. So let's take a look. While this might look a bit intimidating, it's actually very straightforward. We have a large section for articulations, a smaller one for keyboard ranges, the keyboard display again, and another section for the CC dials. To show how this is done, I'm going to delete this instance and load up a fresh one. Now we go straight into the settings via the Settings button. I'll also open up my library to look at the articulations. Quick little disclaimer, since every library comes with its own specific set of articulations, there's sadly no way of guessing what articulations an instrument has, so we do have to transfer them into this manually, mostly via typing them in. That being said, Articulate is built with a focus on setting up everything as fast and conveniently as possible, so we can quickly get into making music. According to Sign, our first articulation is sustains, so I click into the first field and start typing. Once I'm done, I can directly jump to the next one by pressing the Tab key. Next one, tap again, and so on. For the key switches, our first one up here is C0. I can now either open this drop-down and select C0, or click on the Learn button and click the note in the keyboard display, or even just press the note on my keyboard. This automatically populates all lines with text in them, and with the Learn button active, we can even move the key switches around. Some instruments might have their key switches split into groups. To mirror this, we can simply put in a new note where the split happens. There you go. We now have multiple key switch groups. If for some reason we don't want to fill the notes automatically, say to replace a single note, this can be deactivated down here. If we want to remove articulations, say because we copy this instance to another track with less articulations, we can do this by clicking the X buttons, either per line or per column. That's it for articulations. On to the range. Setting up the range or even multiple range zones works quite similar. We can either select them in these drop-downs, or we use the Learn buttons with either the keyboard display or the keyboard keys. I personally like sweeping around the keyboard display with the Learn buttons active to make this super fast. Lastly, the CC dials, which are as simple as it gets. A good use case for them is with libraries that have performance modes to cut off any buildup on the samples, such as the Audio Imperial libraries. In this example, I'm setting up a CC dial plus the CCN contact, so I can easily toggle that on and off. Other use cases could be mixer or effect settings, or really anything else you want to automate. That's all it takes to set it up, and we can save this as a preset either for the device or for the entire track. So as we've seen, setting up key switches and ranges with Articulate can be done very fast, and once everything's set up, we rarely have to touch it again. In case you absolutely want to get around setting your libraries up by yourself, you can also buy pre-made presets for a growing range of libraries from the store and get started immediately. That sums it up for this video. Hope you like what you saw, and most importantly, I hope that Articulate will be a great addition to your workflow when composing in Ableton Live. Happy music making, take care.